Neno hili si hivyo. Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this one man who is going to give President William Ruto serious political headache in 2026, then that person is none other than the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. For those who have been following the politics in the Republic of Kenya very closely, after his fallout with his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto drove himself to Gatundu and he met with Uhuru Kenyatta over Nyama Choma.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Asante sana. Asante. Thank you for nyama. Karibu sana bwana.
After that meeting, William Ruto appointed alleged allies of the former president to his cabinet. And most Kenyans had expected that Uhuru Kenyatta was going to start supporting President William Samoei Arap Ruto. But the ground in Mount Kenya was too hostile. Uhuru Kenyatta did not support President William Samoei Arap Ruto. And as we speak, Uhuru Kenyatta is showing signs that he's definitely going to support Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka or Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and thus giving William Ruto serious political headache. In this video, I want to explain to you guys why Uhuru Kenyatta is going to give William Ruto serious political headache in 2026. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me head straight to the points why I strongly believe that Uhuru Kenyatta is going to give William Ruto serious political headache in 2026. Because remember, the campaign period for 2027 election is actually going to begin this year. The first reason is because Uhuru Kenyatta has the ability to fund either Kalonzo Musyoka or to fund Fred Okengo Matiang'i. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto is currently moving across the country. He has resources and is also enjoying state machinery. One of the reasons why Kalonzo Musyoka is stuck is because he lacks resources. And let's assume today that Uhuru Kenyatta were to team up with Kalonzo and provide Kalonzo with resources so that Kalonzo can start traversing the country. I can assure you Kalonzo can be lethal. Because as things stand today, Mount Kenya is not really behind William Ruto. Ukambani, not. And even in ODM party, there are those who are not yet comfortable with supporting the president. And therefore, it would be easy for Kalonzo to reach out to those people. And even if you were to focus on Matiang'i, I can assure you, Matiang'i will be able to move. The reason these guys are not moving is because of resources. And because they're not moving, they are unable to sell their policies to Kenyans. They are unable to meet Kenyans wherever they are. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact that he can fund either of them is worrying President William Ruto. Number two, if you look at the opposition today, they can easily defeat William Ruto in 2027. But only if they are united. The only person today who has the ability to craft a winning formation for the opposition is none other than Uhuru Kenyatta. It is Uhuru who can bring Kalonzo, he can bring Natembeya, Uhuru Kenyatta can bring Matiang'i, he can bring Peter Munya, he can bring all those opposition leaders to a table. Raila Odinga previously would do that. But in the absence of Raila, the only person who can do that for the opposition is none other than Uhuru Kenyatta. And that is why he's giving William Ruto serious political headache. Because if the opposition can find that formula and unite, if Uhuru Kenyatta can unite them, and let's say they agree to a single candidate. Let me just give you a scenario. Let's assume today that the opposition agrees that Kalonzo is the presidential candidate. Either Natembeya or Matiang'i is the deputy. And let's assume that they manage to bring on board Rigathi Gachagua. That's going to be serious. That's lethal. That ticket can easily defeat William Ruto.
Kwa hivyo mimi sitaki kusema mengi, mnajua mimi ni mstaafu. Lakini kusema mstaafu sio kusema uniingize kidole kwa macho, mimi pia nitakuingiza. Hatuogopi la. Tuheshimiane. Sina namna hiyo. Cyrus aliheshimu wote. Mimi na heshimu chama chake. Wale wengine wafanye hivyo. Hiyo ndio njia ya kujenga taifa letu, lakini sio siasa duni.
If you are Ruto, what would you do? You'd fear. Because if there's one thing William Ruto has been trying to do is to divide the opposition. The main reason why William Ruto was able to bring Raila Odinga to his side was because he knew that by bringing Raila Odinga to his side, he was going to split opposition. But of course, as fate would have it, the opposition is not yet united fully, but they have the numbers if you are to take a pen and a calculator. So Uhuru can do that. And that's why Ruto is very angry. If you are keen, the moment Uhuru was seen with Kalonzo in Nigeria, Junet responded ruthlessly. Ishungwa responded ruthlessly. Alice Wahome responded ruthlessly to Uhuru Kenyatta. It tells you something about Uhuru Kenyatta. Number 3, there is the Mount Kenya factor in 2027 presidential elections in the Republic of Kenya. Mount Kenya will determine who becomes the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And I want you to mark this. If Mount Kenya will be divided, let's say some goes to Matiang'i, some goes to Kalonzo. Okay, let me put it this way. Assuming some will go to Kalonzo, not Kalonzo, assuming some will go to Rigathi and some goes with Uhuru. There's no way the opposition will defeat William Ruto. William Ruto will only be defeated if Mount Kenya vote as a bloc. And that's why Mbere by-election was significant. That's why the by-election which is coming up in February in those 2 constituencies in Mbere is also significant. We'll be able to see whether the mountain is fully 2-term or fully 1-term. But how is that giving Ruto a problem, and how is it related to Uhuru Kenyatta? If Uhuru Kenyatta can bring the mountain together, Ruto is finished. That is the reality. I can assure you, if Uhuru can bring Rigathi, Kalonzo, Natembeya, Matiang'i, Ruto's only hope is going to be ODM. And not only ODM, he must be very targeted. That is Luo Nyanza, coastal region, and northern Kenya. And the turnout in those regions must be very high. But without Uhuru Kenyatta uniting the mountain, William Ruto would just sit somewhere and relax. In fact, if Mount Kenya will be split, William Ruto will not even campaign. That is why Uhuru is giving Ruto headache. That's the honest truth. Number 4, and this is something which is there. Uhuru Kenyatta supported Raila Odinga. He was a president. And most Kenyans questioned whether Uhuru Kenyatta sabotaged Raila Odinga. Because there was no way Raila Odinga would have lost the presidency with the support of Uhuru Kenyatta. Raila had the people, Uhuru had the deep state. Raila always won, but without the deep state. Uhuru lost, he accepted. But Uhuru Kenyatta has been on a revenge mission. Uhuru Kenyatta has been trying so hard to find opportunity, the slightest one, to revenge against William Ruto. So Uhuru Kenyatta learned his mistakes. As we speak, Uhuru Kenyatta knows where they went wrong with Raila. And Ruto also knows that Uhuru Kenyatta knows where they went wrong. So if Uhuru Kenyatta were to support someone else today, he knows what to do and what not to do. And would want also to prove a point, because that loss really dented his image. He would want a situation where he's able to recover from the loss. And because he's on a revenge mission, and because he lost and learned his lessons, Ruto knows what Uhuru is capable of doing. And lastly, what he's doing today with Kalonzo Musyoka in Nigeria, the international networks. It's normally very difficult to win the presidency without international connection. Raila Odinga enjoyed massive international connections, but despite that, he never became the president. Ruto, who did not have the right connections, ended up being the president. But of course, it's a known fact that the US government was not comfortable with Raila Odinga at that time. Because remember, Kenya went to election at the peak of Russia-Ukraine war. It also went to that war at the peak of BRICS. So they feared that Kenya, under Raila Odinga, was going to take Kenya to the other side. So the US and the British agreed to support Ruto because they believed it was going to be easy to manage Ruto. That's why when Ruto took over, it was easy for Joe Biden to take over and control Ruto. And of course, we all know that Ruto was really elevated at the international stage until Trump took over. So Uhuru is respected internationally. And what he's doing today is trying to connect Kalonzo to those international networks. I did a comprehensive analysis about this yesterday. You can check that particular video. I'm going to pin it in the pinned comment for those who failed, for those who missed it yesterday. I don't know what you think, but personally, I strongly believe that William Ruto is really worried on how to deal with Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to read your comments below. And if you've watched this video up to this stage, please let me know in the comment section by just saying present. Till next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.